Happy Thanksgiving. This is the 96, the best car in the world ever, and it has been up on this jack stand for over a month now, and we're gonna get into a little bit more about that in a minute. Looking good, right? Let's pop the hood, I guess, and we can see what's going on with this thing. Where's the hood releaser? I don't even remember. It's been such a long time. Do I really not remember where my hood release is? Oh, there it is. So I was out picking about a month ago. The car overheated. I diagnosed it down to the water pump. And this is where we're at. Get this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. I gotta be honest, I don't know why this has taken me so long. I mean, maybe I'm not the only person who does this, but I've had a serious mental block fixing this car. The first night I got all this torn apart, because in this car a water pump is a timing belt job. Then I noticed that the cam seal was leaking like crazy, and the crank seal way down there. Let's see if we can get a better shot of the crank seal. The crank seal right there was leaking too. Oops, I just hit you guys on the fender, sorry. Wasn't leaking as bad, but... So I worked on it for a couple hours the first night, a couple hours the next night after I got home from picking. I've been going picking in the 98 Camry. And then it was seriously almost a month before I did anything else. And finally the other day I came out and got this water pump installed, which was not too bad. This bolt right here, it's not a bolt, it's a screw. That was a little hard to get out. I had to hit it with the torch. So this is where we are right now. Like I'm a month into what's basically a timing belt job, which is not rocket science on this car. I don't know why I've been dragging my heels so bad, but there's a lot of picking coming up, and this car really needs a ton of maintenance. You know, it needs an oil change, it needs motor mounts. I think the tune-up is okay. I can't unlock the car because we'll check out the trunk here. Hold on, let me get my camera in the other hand. Get out the trunk key. Whoa, wrong key. The trunk is really dirty. Haven't vacuumed that in like forever. I get a lot of water penetration down in here. Like, see how gross and muddy that is? The interior, like right now the interior has the seats from the green Camry in it, but the interior is just cluttered, tools and peanuts. I don't think I'm gonna eat those. It's really filthy in here. You know, there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. And I have been driving this car hard and not really doing much on it. It needs front tires. You look in the back here, you can see the front tires peeking out. These switches don't work until you open the door, which sucks in the winter. Because, you know, if I want to roll down the window a crack to get some fresh air, I gotta open the window while I'm driving 55 down the highway. This is broken. This door, that's broken. Guess we can close up the trunk. This thing's been broken for at least a year now, so opening this door is a pain. I have all the parts to do all these jobs. In fact, when this thing failed, I already had the water pump, I already had the seals, I just didn't put them in last time I did the timing belt. And I might have to replace this alternator at some point, because that thing whines. It's a remanufactured one I got at AutoZone. It's probably crappy. So I think I'm going to try to document the process of getting this car back in shape. I like making car videos. Car repair videos are kind of a pain, but they're pretty satisfying to make. So I think I'm going to start documenting that. And this is just the intro to that. So let's see what we can get done on this timing belt today. And that'll be that. So this should be a multi-video series of getting this beautiful Camry back into ship shape so we can enjoy it for another 10 million miles. So I guess let's get to work. So since we're coming into this thing when it's like halfway done, to get this seal out, I ended up using a screwdriver, which is not good. That might be one of the reasons I'm reluctant to put it back together, because if this thing leaks, then I gotta tear it all apart and start over. The crank seal, I went and bought this seal puller on eBay because it was recommended by Hardly Moving Productions, shout out. He also recommended this, which is what I ultimately used. But the crank seal was pretty easy to get out and pretty easy to get back in. I just used a cut off piece of PVC pipe as a press. This is what I used as my installer tool over here. I'm not really sure how it worked. It made sense at the time. I was like just stacking up washers and these rubber grommets, and somehow it pressed it in. And I think I got it all the way in, but I'm gonna double check. All right, I got you guys mounted up on a tripod, so you should be able to see what I'm doing here. See, there's very little room in between here to tap on this. And I don't want to hit it with anything that's made out of metal. So I'm just gonna use this plastic brush, maybe to see if we can get a little more, you know, get it in a little bit more. I don't know how well this is gonna work, or how well the shot's gonna come out, because I'm looking at it upside down. But yeah, I think I got it seated all the way as far as it's gonna go. I don't want to damage the seal, and I don't have the $60 seal puller, so I guess not seal puller, seal installer. So I guess that's it. I guess we're just gonna put the cam pulley on now. So in a way, the cam gear is idiot proof because it's got a keyway in it, and in a way it's not idiot proof because if you rotate it while you're installing it, then your timing is gonna be off. See, I made little marks right there with a paint pen. So now I gotta tighten this thing to 45 foot-pounds of torque. And I got to do that without rotating this, so let's see if the old torque wrench still works. Yeah, I need a new torque wrench. I want one of those fancy digital ones. This right here is my Craftsman torque wrench that I've had for 20 years, and these things apparently don't stay calibrated forever. But it's the best I got. And it's worked in the past, like when I did head gaskets and they didn't fail. So let me get that set up properly. I always try to keep this thing set at 0, because I guess that's how you're supposed to store it. But we need to get it up to 45 foot-pounds. So here's the locking collar, which is also broken. And then we crank it in. This video is probably going to come out as like a long-winded, boring video, but it's almost for my own catharsis of just getting through this. So, you know, if you don't like it, that's okay. No hard feelings. But I don't know, maybe some of you can relate. All right, we're at 45 foot-pounds, so maybe some of you can relate to just occasionally being afraid to get in there and start wrenching. I don't know. One of the reasons I love this Camry is that it has a non-interference engine. Which means that if I screw this up by, for example, trying to thread the crank bolt into the cam gear, if I screw this whole job up, here's all my parts. I think that's the one. If I screw this job up, then my engine won't eat itself. But what'll happen is if this thing still leaks a ton of oil like it was before, then I'm going to have to, like, I'm not really going to know whether it's leaking oil or coolant until I get it all together and running. And if it is leaking, then I have to pull everything back apart and start again. But the one good thing about doing this job now is that Camry over there is going to need the same service sooner rather than later, because all of these pulleys are noisy and everything. So this is just experience doing this. All right, now I got to try to torque that. I'm going to try to just hold this by hand and torque it, but if I can't, then I'm going to figure out another way. All right, I've tried to set up this shot in a way that makes sense while getting as little of my fat belly in the shot as possible. So, yeah, see what's happening right now? The cam wants to turn. I can't get more than 20 pounds of torque on it without the cam turning. Hold on. Here's a closer shot of what's going on. When I try to give it any significant amount of torque, the cam gear just turns. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to hold it still. All right, so what I'm gonna try to do is hold this old timing belt on the cam gear as I crank it, not crank it, as I torque it, and see if that'll hold it from turning. And it's turning clockwise, so I gotta put a lot of pressure on the bottom side of this. I'll put you on the pod so I can do this two-handed. I know all you real mechanics probably think I'm a total jackass at this point, but try to have some sympathy for people who don't do this every day. I just can't get it. It's not going to 45 foot-pounds without turning. Of course, what I could do is take off the valve cover gasket and get like a wrench on the cam, but I'm not going to do that. Got to come up with something else, I guess. Alright, now I got some super sketchy old vice grips holding the belt in place. Let's see if that'll work. Oh, it's got to be coming soon. Where's my click? Oh, there it is! Let's do it again closer up. All right, hopefully you guys can hear the click this time. And that's 45 pounds-ish. Here's why you want to use the old belt for this, because look at the big divot in the belt now from these vice grips. These are real vice grips, but they gotta be, you know, 40, 50 years old. I don't like these. I need a better set. So now we're one step closer to being finished. That cam moved quite a bit, so let me see if I can, all right, move it back. That moved back a little too easily. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything I left out here. I mean, I know some of you mechanics are just laughing at me right now, but those of you who aren't mechanics, leave a message in the comments and let me know if you ever freak out about repairs like this. You know? Like, this is a couple hour repair for an experienced guy, but I've been just kind of dragging my feet for over a month now because for some reason I'm just frightened to get it all buttoned up. But I guess we're gonna have to do that now, right? So at this point I'm trying to figure out where all this stuff goes while also keeping my hands clean enough to actually touch the camera. I think this one goes in first, and I think what happens is this goes on, and you can see from the witness marks that goes on next, then this thing goes on. But I think what you do is you, ooh, where'd that one go? I don't lose anything here. I think what you do is you put this one on first, and then you can put the timing belt on. So let's see if we can do this one-handed down here. Luckily there's a keyway. Wow. Not so luckily this thing's been exposed to the elements for a month. Alright, I might have to spritz that with WD. Or maybe not. Seriously though, you should see how dirty my camera is. But when I'm not using a part, I try to keep it in this box so it doesn't get lost. Now, I was going to reuse this belt until I realized how stupid that was. But what I did that was not stupid was I put marks on the belt. Right? So I could line it up and reuse it. So I think what I'm going to try to do is transfer those marks over to the new belt, and that way maybe the new belt will go in easy or something. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so I think that we need to make sure the writing on each belt is going the same direction, so let's figure that out with this Dayco belt. I don't have a brand preference, it's just what they had available at the shop, the Advanced Auto Pots. Alright, that looks good. And I would have been a damn fool to put this belt back in, wouldn't I? Alright, let's get to work transferring these marks. Step number 1. ASMR pen shaking. Oh my god. This belt is really chewed up. I wonder why. Alright, so I'm going to transfer this witness mark to the inside of the belt. And then I guess I can just put it at any arbitrary place on this belt as long as we're aligned up. And the reason I'm doing it from the inside is because I need to get it between these cogs, and that might be hard to get from the outside. So now we can just go around to the outside of this belt and make that mark right there. Alright, so now what I need to do is keep these belts tight together and walk around until I find this other mark and transfer this other mark to this other belt, which I'm going to do in sort of a preliminary way. Alright, so if it seems like I'm skipping steps here, it's because the camera just shut off. Oopsie. So, this is the new belt. This is the old belt. We've got them lined up, and now we're gonna just follow them along on this side. Now, if you know how to set the timing on one of these, you don't have to do this. I'm just trying to do this to make it a little easier for myself, because it's the only second time I've ever done a timing belt in my life, as far as I can remember. So now, we get to where the other mark was on the original belt, and I've already drawn that because, like I said, the camera went off. But now these two belts should have the same marks on them, which means that when we put them on, when we put the new one on, we should be able to just line it right up to the cam and the crank, and theoretically it should start right up. Let's hope. Alright, so if I recall correctly from the last time I did this job, I've got to loosen this pulley and then push it down and out of the way, and then tighten it out of the way. And then I guess what happens is when we put the belt around it, we'll release it and it'll put tension on the belt. I think that's how it works. Alright, now I'm going to try and get this belt in here. And we've got our arrow to go by here. And we're going to go, I guess, we go over this pulley, and then we go, wow, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Down over that pulley, over the water pump, and then over the crankum shaft. Let me see if I can get a better angle on the crankshaft down there. Alright, all you're going to see is my fingers down here futzing around. But if I did this right, then the witness mark on the crank should be at the same point as the witness mark on the belt. I don't know why that's not going on though. Huh. Alright, hold on. We didn't get it. If you watch some of my other car repair videos on YouTube, you'll notice I do have a modicum of confidence for those jobs. But this, I have no idea what I'm doing. But I had the tensioner pulley in the tight position. Alright, can you see anything here? Let's tip the camera a little bit and we can see if we can get this thing onto the crank where it's supposed to go at. Alright, now we're off a little bit. So we're supposed to go there, and we're supposed to go here, and we're supposed to go under here, and then we're supposed to be on that line on the crank. Ooh. Nope. That line on the crank. Do we got it? We do not got it. This would be a little bit easier if I wasn't trying to record it, by the way. But that just comes with the territory. All right, now we're here. And I think all we got to do is go up and over this pulley. And are we really? Couldn't be that easy, could it? Maybe it is that easy. All right, if I'm not mistaken, all I got to do now is release this tensioner to put the tension on the belt, and then I got to torque this down to 31 foot-pounds, which I will absolutely do with the torque wrench. Hold on. See right there, you're going a steel bolt into aluminum, so you got to be careful. All right, I need a shorter tripod, but I don't have one, so this is the shot that we got to deal with as we put the crank pulley back on. Wow, that's a tight fit. And I got the bolt. I actually went and bought myself one of those Ugga Dugga guns, but I don't think I'm going to use it because I'm not too good at using it yet, and the battery's probably kind of weak right now. So I'll tighten this by hand. And that's going to be your big 19mm. Listen to it click. Right now it's just kind of drawing the pulley onto the thing. Alright, so I'm not going to put a ton of torque on this. I'll torque it properly later to however many foot-pounds it's supposed to be. But for now, I want to see if this thing runs. I know this is going to sound crazy, but my heart rate's actually increasing right now. It's like I'm genuinely afraid to turn the key. It's like I've done everything the way I'm supposed to do it, other than maybe tightening that. I'm pretty sure I did it all right. Wow, that battery terminal is junk. But it'll do. Pretty sure I did everything right, but I'm genuinely nervous right now. Let's go turn the key. All right, obviously I didn't button everything up. Obviously the alternator's not connected. Obviously there's no coolant in the system, but we're just gonna go see if it runs. Wish me luck. I would call that a success. Yay. Thing hasn't run in over a month. And now the beast is back. Alright, it was running like crap. I think I got the belt in the right place. I think it's just because it hasn't run in so long. But let's check the oil. See what we got cooking there. I don't know, can you see that? It's got oil in it. Not great oil. Needs an oil change. So this is where a lot of the tedium begins. So we gotta get this crank pulley back off of here, and then we gotta put in all the various assorted covers and bits and pieces and parts. Let me see if this pulley, you know what? I'm gonna do the smart thing right here. And by smart thing, I don't mean I'm gonna go get my puller. I just mean I'm gonna put on my gloves so I don't kill my hands like right here. So now, how am I gonna record all this tedious nonsense. We'll figure it out. Alright, first things first, this timing cover is filthy because it has oil all over it, and I only have one can of brake parts cleaner, so we'll do our best. That is nasty. Let's see if I can get in here with some paper toweling. That's what my science teacher used to call it, paper toweling. I don't know why he would call it paper toweling instead of just paper towels. Maybe because it came off of a roll that didn't have perforations. So all you'd have to do is just tear off a certain amount of paper toweling rather than tearing off a certain number of paper towels. I don't know. And if that science teacher is listening, and I really forget what his name was, leave a comment in the comments section and tell us all about it. And Avogadro's law and whatnot. Wow, this thing is disgusting. I don't want to wipe off my little white witness mark there though, just in case. Because if that thing hadn't started up, then I would have had to use that to try to get the timing right. Alright, anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the rest of this, because, ugh, gross. The top cover's a little bit better, because all the oil was basically going like that way, but it's still oily. Unfortunately, both these covers are junk. You know, all some of the tabs are broken and whatnot, but the ones that pop up on eBay, they want like $100 a set, and the Dorman ones are just ridiculous, so I guess I'm gonna run what I brung. Alright, these are what you call good as new-ish, and this is the handful of bolts that I have to hold those two covers in place, so wish me luck. Alright, maybe this shot will show some of the action without all of my fat belly hanging over the side of the fender. So I guess that goes like that, maybe? Let me see, is this washer supposed to? Alright. That's right, professional mechanics. The hardest part of this job is putting my ratty old timing covers back on. Wow. Talk about tight squeezes. Alright, I think I got a bolt in. Is that good enough? Can I quit now? Alright, Alright, you guys don't mind if I do most of this off camera, do you? The original gasketing is long gone, so somebody put some... I guess I'm not going to reuse that. The hard part here is just not knowing what bolts to use. I mean, this one's obvious. But I think this, see this one right here? That one goes right there. And, oh, did I just get my head in the shot? Might have to edit that one out. Alright, so anyway, I got 2 more bolts and 8 more holes, so we're gonna have to improvise. There's one bolt that goes right in here. We can get to that from below the car. Oh, I got a leg cramp. But we get to use one of the best tools, which is the 1/4-inch ratchet with the 10 mil on it. Yeah, that's a nice little tool. I got that for free out of the garbage too. Guess the price is right. All right, we're gonna do some gonzo filmmaking here. Oh yeah. Wow. This is not really working out at all. Oh my God. You just don't know the struggle that I'm going through right now to get this bolt in while holding this camera. I wonder if B&H has a grease-proof camera that levitates. Oh. Wow, I screwed myself there. All right, I'm gonna give up on the hard one and grab myself some low-hanging fruit. Seven foot-pounds-ish. Alrighty folks, I would love to get this done today because it actually looks like an engine again, oh my God. Or I don't know, maybe I should have left the cover off and got an anodized purple cam gear. People do. But the light's getting dim, and even though today's the only warm day we're gonna have probably for the rest of the year, I'm going to finish this up another day. But we got over a huge hurdle today because, like I said, I've been dragging my feet on this thing for a month, more than a month, and now it runs, and the 96 Camry will ride again because 2022 is right around the corner. So stay tuned for 1 second and we'll get back to this repair. All right, it's 1 second later. Strategy for today, we're gonna hook this up, we're gonna fill up the coolant, and we're gonna let it run up to temperature and make sure there's no leaks. I'm not gonna install the dog bone because that part is really kind of a pain to get in and out. So if I have to pull this back off, I don't want the dog bone in there, but check this out. I went to get my tools out of the 98 Camry, and the first thing I noticed is that there's like some water on top of my little socket set. And then I figured out that this whole thing is soaked. And my other tools are wet because your boy left his doors open last night. I guess that means I live in a safe neighborhood, but all my tools are wet-ish. So I'll have to let that air out. Not a big problem. This whole set is waterlogged. Look at this. Oddly enough, I don't feel dumb at all. Things happen. I don't remember how I torqued this crankshaft pulley last time I did this job, so I'm just going to use the Ugga Dugga gun. I think that bolt tightens as it rotates anyway, so it probably shouldn't come out right. Now I'm guiding the alternator belt in place. It's kind of a tight fit. There you go. And the way this thing gets tightened is you got this little doohickey right here, and this threaded bolt goes into that, and as you tighten this, it pulls up on the alternator and tightens the belt. So we'll do that now. It don't want to turn. Guess I gotta loosen this first. Now it should turn. Wow, that ain't right. Why is that thing stuck as heck? It's rusty, I guess. We'll give it a spritz. I really don't want this thing to break, so I'm gonna pull it out and like finesse it a little bit. That is so weird. What is wrong with that? All right, I gotta look at this more carefully. This is the kind of stupid little stuff you get hung up on in car repair. I suppose I could hit that with a torch. Or maybe I could even run it through with the impact real quick, but... Alright, it seems like it's freeing up now. Alright, I'm going to dick around with this for a little bit more, get those threads freed up, and then we'll be back. I got the thing out, but it is not cool that it was that hard to get it out, so I am going to hit it a little bit of this anti-seize lubricant. which is not my favorite stuff to deal with because it's, well, my jar is a mess anyway, but this stuff gets on everything. Oops. Great videoing. I figured just a little bit on the threads, and maybe that'll shred itself out as we go. Whoa. It's still a little bit tight. And there's a possibility that the anti-seize isn't really sticking to the bolt because the WD-40 that I sprayed on there. See, look at this. I look like the Tin Man already. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna reinstall this, and then after I install it, I'll put a little anti-seize on it. That should be good. I am not kidding when I say this is the kind of stuff you have to deal with all the time when you're working on these older cars. I call it the reality of car repair versus the theory. Like in theory, this bolt would just screw right in, but in reality, sometimes you have to mess around with it. But as you can see, the belt's getting tighter. They say you want to be able to twist the belt about 45 degrees. I don't over tighten it because I think the bearings in this unit are not that great, but that should be tight enough to just get it up and running. And then I'm going to sock up this one, cinch the whole thing down, and then I'm going to tighten this one just so I don't forget. And this thing I'm gonna have to zip tie out of the way somehow, but I think that goes behind the motor mount bracket, so that should be fine. Now we're gonna try and pour in some coolant, top it off to where we lost when we had to replace the water pump. I think it's 50-50 in this jug. Actually, no, that might be concentrate. Let me go add some water and shake this up. I've actually been getting kind of lucky finding coolant in the garbage lately, like sealed bottles of it, but it's usually concentrate, so you got to mix it up. That should be good enough. Windy day coolant pour without a funnel. Let's see how we do. Wow, she's thirsty. All right, there we go. And you guys may not notice this, but right off the bat, the thing is way quieter because that water pump isn't clattering like it has been for months. I also don't like how that wire is so close to the alternator belt, so I'm gonna have to zip tie that out of the way later. That's not a big deal. I started freaking out for a second because of this rattling noise I'm hearing. Listen to this. But I fixed it, watch. The lower radiator hose is still cool, which means the thermostat hasn't opened yet. I don't see any leaks, like anything dripping out, obviously. But to be honest, it wasn't dripping before. So, only time will tell if I got all the things torqued down right. The hose is warm now, but I don't feel any flow through it. Car's steaming though. I think the problem with this car is it doesn't really run that hot, so. That little thermostat ain't opening up. Not yet anyway. I haven't done one of these in years, but I think when the thermostat opens, this stuff just goes slurp and slurps right down because it all goes in the engine. I don't know, we might have to rev the engine. That doesn't seem to have done anything. The temperature gauge is, I don't know, right in the middle. The heat's blowing hot. So that's good, right? And I think it's good that bubbles are coming out of the coolant, because that means the system is burping itself effectively like a piece of Tupperware. All right, at this point I think that I have no idea what I'm doing because this hose is steaming hot, which means coolant is flowing through it. So we're gonna cap it off and where's the cap? And we can always top off the coolant later. And now we got to button up the other pieces, the motor mount. It's always best to do these jobs when the engine is really hot, so we got to take the alternator back out, or at least take the belt off, and then we got to, I'll show you what we got to do here. This thing has to go in here, and it's not exactly easy because you got about 0 clearance in there. I just dropped all the bolts, but basically what you need to do is put in the bolts right there, and then we'll fish this thing in. Might be able to do it with the alternator in place, but I gotta take the alternator belt off so I can put the power steering belt on. You see that pulley down there? Power steering, I'm not gonna show you how to do that because it's such a pain, but it's basically like up in here. There's your pulley. There's your pulley up in there. And you gotta, that's the one thing I'm gonna leave out, sorry. I'm not sure how much of this you're gonna be able to see, but we gotta get this in here. And one good idea is to get this bolt started right here, just so that we know that the other bolts are aligned down below, so that we know they're on the right axis. And you know, you can take like these lines out if you really want to, but I don't. All right, am I even close to having this thing lined up right? I don't think so. The struggle is really real with this piece. I mean, generally the Camry is super easy to fix, but this is just the one place where they scrimped on the easiness. Wow, how do we even do this? I really don't know. Alright, I'm gonna take it back out. See if maybe I can get one of the, figure out where I'm trying to even get into here. Alright, I don't even feel the holes. Wait, there's one. No, that's a bolt head. See, the problem is you can't put the bolts in afterwards, but if the bolts are in advance, then they kind of get in the way of going into the holes. I really don't know what this thing is supposed to be threading into. Wait, there's a hole. All right, I feel the 2 holes. Ow, I just burned myself too. I just gotta get one of these bolts into one of these holes. Then we should be able to, I might have to go at it from beneath though. Let's see if I can get at it from underneath, hold on. Alright, I think I got one of the bolts started. And you got to make sure they're started correctly because these are going into aluminum. And let's see. I think the way I had to do it last time was to tighten the first one. See, it's still so loose that the ratcheting wrench won't really grab it, it'll just spin. So I gotta keep my finger on the ratcheting wrench. Let me turn the microphone. Maybe you can hear some clickety-clickities. Oh, by the way, it just started snowing. So that's a thing. I don't want to strip this thing. So I think that's 31 foot-pounds right there. Now this one we're gonna hope that it's threaded in right. Oh my god, I can't even get the wrench in. I'm not kidding, this has been the hardest part of this process. And you know what? I might be able to get this one from beneath. Hold on. I don't know if you guys can see anything right now, but I'm on my back on cold, wet pavement. And this is actually a good idea because I have way better access to this bolt from here. I just wish I had a longer wrench. That's a common problem with men. A lot of us wish we had longer wrenches. But I don't. So I'm gonna tighten this bolt, run what you brung. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to use this clip. Oh, there it goes. We've got purchase. We've got 31 foot-pounds of torque, I think. Ah! Wow! Ugh. Holy cow. We are in the home stretch. All we gotta do now is put the dog bone back in. Oh, please tell me I didn't just drop that. Really? Did that just happen right now? I'm gonna get a magnet, hold on. I feel so foolish. Normally you don't drop big bolts. Wow. Magnet helped a lot. Alright, we live to fight another day. I guess I left these loose in the first place. So here's your dog bone. You put the main dog bone pivot bolt. These two are going into aluminum. See how confident I am now? Like, I was so stressed out and freaking out before, but now I'm just like doing part swapping work so I can really spin my wrenches. That's how it goes. But the only way to get confident with the stuff you don't know how to do is to just dig in there and do it, and then next time it'll be easier. And this is gonna be like a 4-hour-long video, so you know. I appreciate you watching. Oops. We just gotta tighten this belt again. Oh, by the way, look for a how-to in the near future of how to replace that power steering belt, because that belt is in awful condition. And I should have replaced it this time, but car will run without power steering, won't it? That's tight enough. This alternator's crap anyway. alternator went, so I had to buy a remanufactured one at AutoZone, and it's been whining since day one. Ugh. Now one last little bolt. And we can put our, is that on the camera? Let's tilt the camera down. Put our coolant overflow reservoir right here. And other than zip tying that little connection down there and a few little tidbits, I'd say we're done. So that's the timing belt job, the water pump job that took 6 weeks, 5 weeks. Today's the day after Thanksgiving. It's cold, and I am so excited that this car rides again. Look forward to more repairs on this car and more trash picking adventures, and thanks so much for watching.